And I got this idiot logic professor, who I like to call Mr. Lawn Gnome. Jason, why do you call him Mr. Lawn Gnome? Well, because he looks like a lawn gnome, of course. He does. Now, Mr. Lawn Gnome, I come into his class every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. And he's supposed to teach logic. Okay, so how to debate. And recently we've been talking in Mr. Lawn Gnome's class about fallacies. And he'll basically give different types of fallacies, and then give an example for each different type of fallacy. Now, what's funny is that for each of these examples that he gives about what a fallacy is, he uses a conservative position. He uses this logic class, he uses fallacies and to basically attack conservatives, to indoctrinate the classroom. I have many, many examples, and I want to read them to you. Because this guy, he's a moron. I have no patience for people like this anymore. I'm done. I'm just going to be blunt. I'm going to say it. He's an idiot. If you have a captive audience, sir. You have a captive audience. This class, these students in the classroom, they can't go anywhere. You have our minds for a full hour, and you're using your teaching position to indoctrinate the students by sending across this message that all conservative views are bad. All conservative views are apparently fallacies, in your opinion. Here are some examples from Mr. Lawn Gnome's class. First of all, on the second day of class, I believe, he forced us to read Obama's inauguration speech. Forced. It was part of our homework assignment. Forced us to read Obama's inauguration speech. We had to. We had no choice. Do you think when Bush was in office, any liberal teacher ever made the students read one of his inauguration speeches? I doubt it. Now, as I said, he has been talking about all the different kinds of fallacies that there are. And each time he explains a different type of fallacy, he says, all right, let's do an example. And then he'll give a conservative position and say this is an example of a fallacy. And then he goes, well, talk radio does this all the time. Talk radio always uses fallacies. Talk radio is really saving this country right now. Talk radio primarily consists of conservatives. So when he's saying, oh, talk radio uses fallacies all the time, what he's really saying is that conservative talk show hosts use fallacies all the time. Basically, he's saying that conservative talk show hosts lie all the time. Let me give you a few examples of these fallacies, just so you know exactly what Mr. Lawn Gnome is doing. There's one type of fallacy called either or. It's called either or, and basically the definition of this is when a position is reduced to two extreme options. So it's when someone comes along and says, well, here's my argument. We can either have this or this, and it's two very extreme options. And basically the person making the argument says, well, you don't want to have this option, so you have to come with me and choose this option. And the example that he used for this is, do we want liberty or do we want tyranny? Either liberty or tyranny. Now, this is a conservative argument, ladies and gentlemen. I hear conservative talk show hosts saying this all the time. We literally have a choice right now in America to choose liberty or tyranny. It's up to us. But when he was using this as an example, he was kind of suggesting that we could kind of find a middle ground. That we don't have to have one extreme or another extreme. We could kind of find a middle ground of liberty or tyranny. Excuse me, sir. That's the choice we have today. We're either going to restore our founding principles and go back to maximum liberty, or we're going to continue down this path to tyranny. They're not two extreme examples. It's the truth. It's the truth. Then there was another example of a fallacy that he called explaining by meaning. The definition of this was, quote, when a label or tag is substituted for an argument. When a label or tag is substituted for an argument. So basically, this kind of fallacy is when you just label something without using an argument. The example that he used for this one, the new healthcare law is socialism. Because apparently that's not a good argument, that's just a label. We labeled it socialism, it's bad, that's the end of the story. That's what he said. Ladies and gentlemen, this is another conservative position, but again, apparently, this conservative view, this conservative opinion, is a fallacy. Mr. Lawn Gnome, are all conservative opinions fallacies in your mind? When he said this example, that people say that new healthcare law is socialism, when he said that to the class, he said, well, I don't know if you guys really see socialism as a bad thing anymore. Seriously? Of course it's a bad thing. Why would you even say that to the class, sir? I don't even know if you guys see socialism as a bad thing. It's terrible. It's a stepping stone to communism. It's more and more regulations, more and more power to the federal government. And you're putting the idea that it's really not a bad thing into the minds of these students. By the way, sir, the new healthcare law is partly socialism. It's redistributing the wealth. It's taking the healthcare system and nationalizing it. That is a form of socialism. Is it full-on socialism? Absolutely not. But it is definitely a form of socialism. But no, according to you, it's just a conservative position. It's just a fallacy. It's just a label. Who cares? Then he said the following sentence as another example of a fallacy. This was actually something that he had in one of his PowerPoint presentations. Obama's deficit reduction plan is like putting lipstick on a pig. You can dress it up as nice as you want, but it still stinks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is another thing many conservatives would say. It's another opinion that many conservatives would have. Obama's deficit reduction plan does suck. But remember, he's saying that this is a fallacy. He's saying that this is pretty much a lie. He's using this conservative position as an example of a fallacy. Again. He's using what he teaches in the classroom to attack conservatism and to indoctrinate the students. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. Basically, by saying that sentence right there that I just read is a fallacy, he's saying, well, the budget reduction plan is really not so bad. Then he attacked Bush. All liberals teachers do this at one time or another. He attacked President Bush when he was in a debate with Al Gore in the year 2000. And he basically talked about how Al Gore presented this big tax plan, and then Bush said, that sounds like a bunch of fuzzy math to me. And then he made it into a big joke, made George W. Bush look like a big clown, and the entire class laughed at him. That's what happened. And then finally, in his examples today, primarily, he was constantly attacking religion, and these examples, more times than not, questioned the existence of God. And he even called himself out on this one. He said he noticed a pattern in his slides and said, I don't know why I'm picking on religion so much. Sir, Mr. Lawn Gnome, let me propose that you do know why you're picking on religion. Because you're a liberal and you just want to indoctrinate your students. That's the truth. Jason, you're being so blunt tonight. Damn straight I am. I'm pissed off. I'm sick of this. I'm sick and tired of this. Using fallacies to attack conservatism. Come on. Guys, I talked, I actually brought this up with my parents, what this teacher was doing. And they agree with me. They think it's flat out indoctrination. They think that he's using these examples as fallacies to attack conservatism. An example after example after example. And he never used the Democratic view as an example of a fallacy. It was all talk radio. It was all conservative positions. This is how they do it, ladies and gentlemen. This is how they do it. Now, some of you listening to this right now might not think this is a big deal. But let me tell you something, it's a very big deal. It's a very, very big deal. Because over time, little tiny side jokes about George W. Bush, little tiny shots at conservatism, little tiny shots at conservative viewpoints, they add up. And over time, the kids are left thinking that conservatives are a bunch of racists, that socialism is really fine, don't worry about it. President Obama's God and George W. Bush is a clown. That's what these kids get out of these lessons. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. I'm so sick of this. I went through 4 years of this in high school. It's really why I started this program. And now I'm about to go through 4 more years of this crap right here at college. I'm so sick of it. So, Mr. Lawn Gnome, let me suggest something to you. Your class is like putting lipstick on a pig. You can dress it up as nice as you want, but in the end, it still stinks.
Factor Talk Radio.